Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
When shopping for your family's meals, do you know where you can find Alaska-grown products? Everywhere. They're available at your local grocery stores and farmers markets across the state. Alaska-grown products are fresher and more nutritious, and buying local helps grow our economy. So just look for the Alaska-grown label when you shop, or ask your grocer where the Alaska-grown products are. Remember, Alaska-grown. It's closer, fresher, better.
And it's all Alaska-grown.
Support comes from the University of Alaska College Savings Plan, helping you and your child save for college every step of the way, from diapers to diploma. More information at uacollegesavings.com.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather. Well, starting tomorrow morning, the show will be seen at 5 a.m. on KAKM. Actually, it'll be shown at 5 a.m. on all these stations, but they will still be showing it first at 5:30, as usual, on KUAC, the ARC there, and 360 North. Otherwise, it'll just be shown at 5 a.m. only on KAKM. Anyway, moving on to satellite imagery from yesterday. A lot of clouds pushing across the Gulf of Alaska from the southwest, but taking a turn to the southeast there as it approaches the Panhandle. So clear skies there, mostly clear, some sunshine right up into a big portion of the interior. Some high clouds spreading in over Prince William Sound and northern Cook Inlet, back out toward Norton Sound, the main front down in this area. And that gradually kind of weakened, brought a little bit of precipitation up the Kenai Peninsula last evening, but the most of the precipitation is still back down to the southwest, and a lot of clear skies all the way up to the central and western North Slope, as well as the western Arctic coast, Kotzebue Sound, and much of the Seward Peninsula had this low out here over the Bering Sea, right around Adak, or just to the northeast there. We'll see today that's shifted up to the northeast toward the Pribilos, but not quite reaching them. Still south of the area there, slowly tracking east-northeast today. That pushing several surges of precipitation here along the southwest coast. Another one back through there. And the main front now extending from St. Lawrence Island, actually back out here over the northwest Bering, and then toward the southeast, kind of coming across Norton Sound, down across the Kenai Peninsula, into the Gulf of Alaska, and then this mostly sliding off to the southeast, catching the southern Panhandle with a few clouds. Otherwise, there was an upper thing here over western British Columbia, and that produced a few showers close to the eastern border. Otherwise, a lot of sunshine. The Tanana Valley areas on down toward Northway, and then back to the west. A little narrower than yesterday, but still some good sunshine there over the Seward Peninsula into the northwest valleys, and then a front coming southward out of the Arctic there, slowly approaching the Arctic coast, actually coming on shore, it looks like here, and really not moving very fast, and not a lot of precipitation with that either, just a few hundredths of an inch. And on today's chart, you can see the position of the front up there. The strong winds yesterday over the eastern Arctic coast diminished dramatically today, pretty light there. And then we've got northeasterlies 10 to 25 miles per hour, maybe some gusts to 30 through the Bering Strait. Then lighter winds towards St. Lawrence Island. And the front right through this area here, anywhere from half an inch of rain fell at Kodiak and King Salmon in the 12-hour period ending at 3 p.m. this afternoon here. That beginning to turn showery there back to the southwest as this main moisture area pushes up into the Kenai Peninsula areas where 1 to 4/10 of an inch fell across the peninsula on up into the Susitna Valley, and that now finally pushing eastward, northeastward in toward Anchorage this afternoon, and a few showers developing here up toward the Alaska Range. Otherwise, good sunshine, kind of a thermal low there up over the upper Yukon Valley, and sunshine still, again, along the southeast coast, with the precipitation of that front still off the coast. Looks like tonight that will push in, and looks like toward morning, pretty good chance of some light rain here from, well, at least Port Alexander up along the north to Elfin Cove, pushing into Yakutat, and then chance of rain along the North Gulf Coast. Occasional rain tonight, from Prince William Sound, the Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, right up into the valleys. More showery up through this area. Look for an increase in the clouds across the Tanana Valley, and a few showers developing there over the north coast of the Yukon Delta, southern coast of the Seward Peninsula, rather, onto the east. Still a dry slot right through here. And then this front getting nudged southward, reinforcing push coming down. And that'll push it down to about the Brooks Range, so look for occasional light rain or snow. Barrow eastward to Kaktovik area with a little bit of rain into the Brooks Range. Snow levels definitely coming down in the mountains there to about 1,000 feet tomorrow by late tonight behind the front, but it gets hung up along the Brooks Range there. Otherwise, this low southwest of Nunivak Island sends another surge of moisture, probably some pretty good moderate showers or just flat out rain along the southwest coast here in Nunivak Island, right in toward Igigik and King Salmon. Alaska Peninsula kind of in between this mass and another one down here that's pushing northeastward. Scattered showers, Kodiak Island, and out to the west, just a broad, weak area low pressure for mostly cloudy skies and some scattered shower activity out in that area. And that continues in to Monday as well. Just mostly cloudy out here with some widely scattered showers out over the Bering Sea, kind of just a broad trough of low pressure out there. The main center now coming onshore there right around Kipnuk tomorrow afternoon. Another center up here over the west central interior, and another one over there by Eagle. So look for more clouds and some scattered showers there across the Tanana Valley tomorrow. Into the Copper River Basin, occasional rain. Again, Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet areas, but drying out, say from Kenai on down southwest into Kamishak Bay, Fognak Island, still a chance of showers, mainly southern Kodiak Island, and those showers cutting off, maybe Valdez, Cordova, we see a mostly dry day tomorrow, and then that front really weakening here along the southeast coast. But look for some periods of rain or showers there across the entire area up to Yakutat. It looks like the heaviest rainfall amounts will be down here to the southern areas and lighter to the north. With Tuesday's outlook shaping up like this, that front moves off into Canada and weakens. Scattered showers and then a mass of moisture as the upper level trough pulls into the western Gulf of Alaska. An area of rain will develop here near Kodiak Island tomorrow evening, and then slide northeastward there and kind of enhance as it does in the southwesterly flow ahead of the trough, and a good chance of rain by late in the afternoon reaching Cordova to Yakutat and along the coast there to about Port Alexander. Otherwise, just some scattered showers. And then this developing system down here, that's going to take off up toward the Queen Charlotte's or possibly as far north as western Dixon entrance for Wednesday. And that may nudge some more rain into the southern southeast coast sometime on Wednesday. Otherwise, got gale warnings out here for the Chukchi Sea through the Bering Strait to St. Lawrence Island, northerly winds 35 knots. Another trough approaching the coast. Actually, that's for tomorrow, those northerly winds 35 knots. They start to drop back a little bit on Tuesday down to small craft advisories here. Anyway, up here there's actually warmer air coming over the top of this high, so that'll be spreading milder conditions, which means light rain, fog, and drizzle, possibly reaching Barrow down to Point Lay. Drier to the east, lingering showers, but not much, and scattered showers here Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Valley, with drier conditions now for south central Alaska. That low right up over northern Cook Inlet, but showers basically confined to the mountainous terrain, and the Susitna Valley could see some sunshine over southern Cook Inlet, maybe up to Kenai, possibly Anchorage, back down to the southwest, and then more showers out here over Bristol Bay, heading toward the Alaska Peninsula, but nothing very heavy at all. And out west, very light wind conditions here across the Aleutians. Very light and variable. A few scattered showers, mostly cloudy skies, but some sun breaks as well, maybe the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians. Light winds for the Pribilofs, and again, more wind as you head north there, but not as strong as what you'll see tomorrow. Temperatures across the southeast coast this afternoon, mostly in the upper 50s to lower 60s. 63 at AKwx, 62 in Juneau, 59 at Yakutat, McCarthy 61, Paxson 55, 55 also in Valdez today, 50s Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula, Palmer pushed up to 60, 54 in Talkeetna, and 52 over at Gunsight. 20 degrees warmer at Tok this afternoon with 72 degrees, and actually Salsa pushed up to 73 there, east of Fairbanks, 67 at Chicken, and up to the north Beaver had 66, 54 in Arctic Village, 50 degrees at Anatuvik, and near 60 here through the central interior areas, but north of the Brooks Range on out toward the Arctic coast, all in the 30s, mid to upper across much of the area. Cape Lisburne up to 41, Point Hope was missing, and then with sunshine, 63 degrees there at Noatak, and 59 Kotzebue with some nice 60s here across the Seward Peninsula on down to Teller, Nome, and Koyuk. Caltag 63 degrees, otherwise just 53 in McGrath. Mid 50s over the lower valleys there, and near 60 out to the southwest coast. Out west, all in the 50s here, had some 60s showing up along the Alaska Peninsula, 53 St. Paul, St. George, 54 at Adak, and 60 in King Salmon, 58 at Kodiak. Excuse me, lows tonight, 30s north of the Brooks Range, actually to Anatuvik and Arctic Village, 40s to lower 50s back to the southwest, mostly in the 40s to lower 50s here over south central Alaska, Copper River Basin, 40s, mid 30s up toward Eagle, and 40s to lower 50s for the Panhandle. Highs tomorrow, again where that front lies right along the Brooks Range, so from the Brooks Range northward, temperatures 35 to 40 for the highs. Notably warmer here, again 60 to 65 through the eastern interior, actually all the way back down toward the southwest coast. Lower 60s Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay, upper 50s to lower 60s south central Alaska, Copper River Basin, and upper 50s for the southeast coast. Tomorrow's flying weather shows a batch of IFR here from Montague Island eastward, hugging the coastline there. Marginal VFR spreading into the central and southern southeast coast. IFR almost right up to the north slopes of the Brooks Range, extending down into the Bering Sea there, right up to the coast, and also possibly along the western Alaska Range. And for tomorrow afternoon, just areas of marginal VFR here across south central Alaska, western Alaska Range on out to the west. IFR now back along the coastline, holding in over St. Lawrence Island, retreating back to the western Arctic coast, and a lot of IFR farther out to the west. Passes Anatuvik, VFR, look for lower conditions on the northern approach though. Same forecast for Adigan. Marginal VFR on the north entrance, otherwise VFR to the south. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR. Rainy, looking marginal as well. Windy, marginal. Isabel, marginal. And Mentasta, though, probably will stay VFR. And for Tanita, marginal VFR. Portage also looks marginal. And for Chilkoot and White, starting out VFR early and then becoming marginal VFR on toward noon, definitely into the afternoon. Freezing levels, here's that colder air along that front right down to the Brooks Range at about 2,000 feet. That's late tonight, early tomorrow morning. About 6,000 feet here over southeast Alaska, right across Bristol Bay out into the southeast Bering Sea, and about 2,000 feet warmer there across Prince of Wales Island. And really no variation here out over the Bering Sea or even the Aleutians. And icing threats with that front and the moisture. Possible icing above 2,500 feet in the painted area up there, and also here over the southwest interior and across northern Cook Inlet, the Susitna Valley, Copper River Basin, eastern Tanana Valley, icing free, and then with that moisture pushing into the Panhandle, could see some rime icing above about 7,000 feet. And the jet stream, upper low here near Nunivak Island, or slightly to the south. Southwest, 130 knots coming up just south of Kodiak Island, takes off to the east, and then southeast there into a trough over the Pacific Northwest. And here's that northerly jet bringing the colder air with the front down to about the Brooks Range. 9,000 feet, northeasterlies, 25 to 35 knots there. Chukchi Sea right through the Bering Strait to St. Lawrence Island, becoming markedly lighter as you head south over the Bering Sea. Westerlies 15 to 25 with the strongest winds south of the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians. Very light winds over the interior, North Gulf of Alaska, and southwest 10 to 15 there for the panhandle. Now 3,000 feet actually, this low center here may produce a narrow band of easterlies or southeasterlies, could reach 25 or 30 knots in the narrow band there. Otherwise, light winds coming into the panhandle, light variable winds over the interior. Northeast 20 increasing to 40 knots here through the Bering Strait, and then again dropping back as you head south in the Bering Sea. Very light out there, just 5 to 15 knots, maybe 20 knots over Nikolsky. Turbulence, occasional moderate chop, below about 4,000 feet here from maybe as far north as Point Lay, but back across Point Hope, Cape Lisburne, Kivalina, with those mechanical turbulence with those northeast winds there into the Bering Strait, and probably the western side of St. Lawrence Island. And after the break, I'll be back to look at the marine forecasts.
Welcome back to another edition of Alaska Weather Facts. I'm Dave Snider, and joining me today is Cindy Preller. She's the Tsunami Program Manager for Alaska Region's National Weather Service. And Cindy, we hear a lot about tsunamis in the news, probably a lot more than we used to, but let's remind everybody, what is a tsunami?
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Sure.
Tsunami is basically, it's really simple. It's just a disturbance in the water column. So the entire water column from the seafloor to the sea surface is disturbed by something major. Usually a major earthquake. But it can also be a volcanic eruption, even an asteroid. Landslide is especially dangerous.
Okay, so if I'm sitting in my bathtub and I drop a bath toy, that could be a bathtub tsunami.
It is absolutely a bathtub tsunami.
Okay, very good. So Alaska is one of the states, or maybe the state, with the greatest amount of coastline, so tsunamis are a pretty major risk here in Alaska. Who is most at risk?
Yeah, Alaska is significant. We actually make most of the Pacific's tsunamis.
Wow, okay.
On the Aleutian Trench. And it's where the Pacific plate is subducting underneath the American plate. And we produce some very large, great quakes. And of course, the most at risk is the Aleutian Trench.
Okay.
But that extends into south central Alaska as well. They're at huge risk. And then southeast Alaska's risk is really mostly landslide focused.
Okay. Are there any places along the Alaskan coastline that don't have a tsunami risk, or at least a very, very low risk?
Absolutely. The Bering Sea's risk is very low, and the Arctic's risk is very low as well.
Okay, so when we're talking about tsunami dangers, those are places that need to be monitored, but probably not really.
No, I mean, I won't say never.
Yeah, sure.
Because I know better.
Science knows better.
Right. So,
very good.
Near to never.
Okay. Well, let's just say you're on the coast, anywhere in Alaska. What are warning signs that tsunami dangers are threatening you right now?
This is super important because Alaska's greatest risk, especially out on the Aleutians and South Central, is a near-field tsunami, and then of course the landslides in southeast. It's even more intense because we can't.
So shorter warning time.
No warning time.
Okay.
The earthquake is the warning.
Okay.
And that is the most important thing for anybody to remember. The water can arrive in less than 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. At the National Tsunami Warning Center in Palmer, we need to get the warning out in 5 minutes. So for those near-field tsunamis, it's the earthquake is the warning. So if you feel shaking, and of course the first thing you do is drop, cover, and hold.
Right.
And you need to start counting.
Okay.
Slowly to 20.
The right way. How do you do that?
Oh, I teach kids to do it with their favorite things. So 1 chocolate, 2 chocolate, 3 chocolate, but you can count anything you like.
Okay.
And if you're thinking of something happy, that helps.
Okay.
Especially helps kids, but it'll help your psyche.
So you don't speed up because you're getting stressed out.
Right. It actually lowers your heart rate.
Interesting.
You know, so if you think of something you love and practice that. So you're in an earthquake, you're under the table, you're next to the ocean.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
This is important if you're next to the ocean.
Okay.
If you're not next to the ocean, don't worry about it. Just stay in place under cover.
And you're talking about a mile, a quarter mile? What's close?
A mile, even a couple miles.
Okay.
You know, our rule of thumb used to be a mile inland was safe, but the last few tsunamis have taught us otherwise.
Okay.
So, yeah, you know, in Japan we had inundation up to 10 miles.
Right.
So.
Okay. And that was a big quake.
That was a big quake.
So you have a quake, you're counting slowly to 20.
To 20.
What's next?
And if you get to 20 and it's still shaking, you need to evacuate.
Okay.
And that is, that's scary.
Yeah.
Because you're evacuating in a live event that's still shaking. You know, 1964 shook for 4.5 minutes. Indonesia shook for 12 minutes.
Wow. Right.
Japan, I think, shook for 6. I'm not sure of that, but it was long. Anyway, more
Right.
than 20 seconds.
And that's a sign of a very major earthquake, the worst.
Well, 20 seconds is a magnitude 7, so that's
Okay.
not the worst. But what a magnitude 7 can do is trigger a landslide.
Okay.
And those landslides might be a submarine landslide, so you won't see it, you won't hear it, you won't know it, and then the water's moving.
Okay.
So that's really, really, really dangerous. That's what happened in 64 first. Seward, Valdez, Whittier all had landslides first.
Okay. And when you're talking about the water is a warning sign too. What happens with the water that gives you a very easy visual sign that something's changing?
Not guaranteed. It might go out. It might go way out really fast enough to leave the fish behind. But that's not guaranteed. It might just be a fast flood instead.
Okay.
So either way, if it's acting like a super fast rising tide, faster than a tide should rise,
Right.
get out of there.
Okay.
And if it goes out really fast, get out of there.
Yeah.
You know, we lost a lot of lives because people will go check out the new tide pools or
Sure.
pick up fish or shells or, you know, so, and it should feel weird.
Right.
You know, it should be weird.
So pay attention to those natural warning signs and how you feel, because those are maybe the only clues you have.
Right, and you know, sound also. You can hear a tsunami. It'll sound like a roaring train, maybe.
Okay.
Or it might sound silent because the water's been pulled out.
Right.
And that's pretty weird. Imagine camping
Yeah.
at night
Yeah.
near the beach, and all of a sudden you don't hear the ocean anymore.
That would be different.
That would be weird. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you also might hear blowing bubbles, and that's actually from the pressure that's blowing the air out from the sand grains, rock grains.
Interesting.
So if you hear blowing bubbles, that's a little weird.
Okay.
Or clinking rocks, you know, like a rain stick. So those are the sound signs. So the visual is rushing in or rushing out, and roaring especially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of work to get people and keep people aware of what the tsunami warning signs are and what their risks are around Alaska. And there's a website that can help them do that. Where can they go online to get more information for their school, their home, their church, their business?
Oh, there's several. The National Tsunami Warning Center has a website as well, and the easiest way to look that up is just NTWC.
NTWC.
The URL is not intuitive at all.
Okay.
There's also ready.alaska.gov. The state of Alaska has a lot of helpful stuff. Preparedness kits. They have everything you need to get ready.
Okay.
And then for teachers and others, there's a wonderful curriculum called Alaska Tsunami Education Program.
Alaska Tsunami Education Program. Okay.
And that's AKwx.
AKwx. Okay, very good. Those are really good tips to get more information and search that out and help your own community stay safe with the threat of tsunamis around Alaska. Next time we come back and talk to you some more about the Tsunami Ready program and get more in depth on how people can learn more about the risks and what to do here in Alaska. So thank you for joining us today, Cindy. And next time on Alaska Weather Facts, more on tsunamis around Alaska. We'll see you next time.
Small craft advisories along all of the outer coastline tomorrow. Westerlies at 25 in the south coast, southeast to east 25 to the north. Lynn Canal 20 knots, southerlies 20 knots, 15 to 20 knot, basically southeast winds there. Stevens Passage through Clarence Strait. And for Tuesday, southerlies 20 knots here, central southern inside waters, 25 knots early there for northern Lynn Canal. Those are forecast to diminish during the afternoon. And westerlies 15 to 20 knots here out along the coast. So seas still running 7 to 8 feet. So we've got small craft advisories through that area as well. And for the North Gulf Coast here, northeast 25 knots again due to that low center just south of the area. Otherwise light variable winds for Prince William Sound. Southerlies 10 to 15 Cook Inlet. Southwest 25 Kodiak Island, and 20 knots for the Barrens. For Tuesday, got west winds at 15 knots for Kamishak Bay, southwest 10 to 15 for Cook Inlet. Winds stay light and variable for Prince William Sound, and west to southwest for the North Gulf Coast, 15 to 20. Westerlies at 25, blowing across Kodiak Island from Shelikof Strait. Alaska Peninsula, southwest 20. Small craft advisories, or for the small craft advisories for the Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay, southwest 20, and from Castle Cape to Sitkinak, same thing. And then for Tuesday, westerlies 25 knots here, Cape Sarachev up through Bristol Bay, and a pretty stiff westerly wind there from Sitkinak to Castle Cape, a little bit lighter here on the south coast of the peninsula. For the eastern Aleutians, southwest 20 to 25 knots tomorrow. Otherwise, west-southwesterlies 15 to 20 out toward Adak, and that extends out toward Shimei as well. And then on Tuesday, light variable winds here from Shimei and Attu all the way over toward Nikolsky. Then you get into a northwest breeze there coming across Unalaska Island. And for the southwest coast here, north 15, north of Nunivak Island, southwest 20 into Kuskokwim Bay. Gales for St. Lawrence Island, small crafts for St. Matthew Island, and light winds for the Pribilofs, 15 knots the next day there for St. Paul and St. George. Small craft advisories in Nunivak Island, up across St. Lawrence Island, and also for St. Matthew Island. Up along the Arctic coast, northerly winds 15 knots from Demarcation Point to the central coast, picking up to 20 knots there. On the west side, small craft advisories here become gales there across the Chukchi Sea to the Bering Strait. And then for Tuesday, 30 knots here, coming down below gale force, 20 knots, Cape Thompson to Cape Beaufort, light northwest winds there for the west side, and then westerlies 15 knots to 10 knots along the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, with seas running 4 to 5 feet. For tonight, rain continues here, Prince William Sound, Kenai Peninsula, up in through the Susitna Valley, maybe the Matanuska, showers up to the Alaska Range, cloudy Copper River Basin. Rain approaches the southeast coast, and also around this low center, some pretty good shower activity coming into Bristol Bay over to Nunivak Island. And then for tomorrow, that kind of shifts up to the north a little bit there, continues across south central Alaska. Some precipitation, colder temperatures, chance of snow for the eastern Arctic coast down to the Berks Range. And then for Tuesday, more rain spreading into the Panhandle, less showers over.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Find a living in fisheries. The UAS Fisheries Technology Program offers online study from anywhere in Alaska, plus labs and workshops in many Alaska towns.
Is most likely a chum.
Find your living without leaving where you are. Fisheries Technology from UAS.